This is my third time trying to make this video. I tried 2 other nights. So if this one cuts off too, I'm just gonna post it, even if it's incomplete. But things always happen that add to the story, so maybe it's purposeful. So this is a healing update video. And my husband is traveling internationally again this week, so I have time in the evenings, sort of to myself. But it's Christmas time, so there's lots to do, and cool places to go. So anyway, I have a huge update actually. I was experiencing some symptoms that I was like, okay, something's happening. And so sure enough, after some testing, I almost said diagnosed, but that's not it. I am experiencing early onset of menopause. Menopause. And I'm only 38, so it's pretty hardcore. And it's fascinating because I menarched super late. I was 16. And so to enter into this phase of life early, just with such a shortened time comparatively. Like my sister sent me this study that was done during like the quarantine and everything, and just like it was about how the quarantine was affecting children, and like an off statistic that was quoted was like African Americans in America menarche by 40% of African American girls menarche by age 8. What is happening? That's just like, anyway, that's a total tangent, but anyway, so I think it's purposeful, and maybe I get to move into a different role, because I love cycling. I really do. I love cycling and the opportunity that it affords me to literally make a blood sacrifice. And there's a lot more that I could say about that, but so I just get to move into a new way. And but the symptoms I was experiencing were pretty intense, and so I am grateful for Donna Eden's book, Energy Medicine for Women, that is helping me to be functional. and it's awesome because I felt strongly to get that book back from someone that I had borrowed it from in Missouri, and I made sure and did that, and this is why. And it's funny because one of the things that I was experiencing before I kind of like got on top of it was morning sickness. I experienced morning sickness really bad with all of my pregnancies, well, to varying degrees, but I wish that I would have known these energy healing techniques during all of those months, like probably years of my life when you add it up. But at least now I know what to do, so I'm not throwing up in the morning. And I am so grateful for steaming. I am so grateful for steaming. I'm going to continue my steaming training, and someday I will get to share it with more and more people. I'm grateful for nursing. I'm still nursing our now 14-month-old. And that's like basically the only thing that's staving off this just huge dive in my hormones. And I'm grateful for my new doctor friend who is just supporting me, that I was just absolutely led to. I think I mentioned her and them in my last healing video, but I had an awesome experience with her. So I still have one of the screws in. Okay, so yeah, this whole early onset of menopause was just an unforeseeable side effect, like a ramification of all the trauma that I experienced. It's like my body is saying, like, hard stop, no more babies. You cannot bear another child. And so that's a whole different, I mean, I wasn't necessarily planning on it, but I was open to whoever would choose to come. And that's been all of my kids. But, and so just to leave off bearing and processing that, and I am going to do a closing of the bones ceremony this month, so that's gonna be cool. But anyway, I was doing this session with her, and I could tell that my body was still just really having a hard time with the screw that's still in my tailbone. And so she just said, like, what are you doing to accept this screw? You know, because your body is just totally rejecting it, and it's causing all these problems. And she was trying to do some adjustments and move some things around, and I could just feel my body being like, ah! and we were totally on the same wavelength. I love when that happens, like, because I love healing work, and I feel very in tune with my body. Like, everyone that I have worked with has said that about me, you know, like the doctors and physical therapists and other friends and people that I've walked with. And I love it when I can feel and hear and see that the person who is supporting me can also hear my body and, like, is in tune with my body. And so it's like both of us are just, like, in the flow. And that's what happens with this sister doctor. And so she just kind of, like, stopped. We both just stopped, and she said, what we need to, like, just shift the paradigm. So, like, how can we shift the paradigm about this screw? And I just said, like, okay, I want peace and support. And she was like, oh yeah, support. And we both just felt it, like, yeah, my body wants support. Like, I'm not receiving the support that I need. And so I just, like, checked in and was like, okay, how can I receive this support? And I saw so clearly in my mind this image of a simple machine. Like, a screw is a simple machine. And simple machines make things easier. And they've been around since people could create, like, since people could receive inspiration to invent things that would make life better. And so I explained what I was seeing, and she was like, yeah, I can feel your body wants that support, and that this can be like a paradigm shift for you. And it totally has made that difference. Like, I was still during certain exercises feeling like this pinch at the ends of the screw on either side of my tailbone. And when I would sit in a soft chair, or sit for too long without switching positions, when I stood up, I just, like, get this aching feeling. And I felt the shift in the office. But then when I got home, and I was telling my husband about it, whatever, and he was like, oh, that's so great. And that night I realized that when I stood up, because we had had some people visiting, and I had had a child on my lap the entire time that they were visiting without switching feet, like putting a foot under or sitting cross-legged or anything. I hadn't switched position, and a child was sitting on my lap the entire time that they were there. And when I stood up, I just went on my way. I didn't have those, like that time of like, oh my, what is happening to my body? Because it's just like this deep ache and just like, the screw doesn't let me move around or doesn't let me just relax. But I hadn't experienced that. And so I still have felt it a couple of times, but it's moments like that where I could have spent a lot of time and energy getting to that place. But with the support of like synergy is totally real. And when we are paired with another person, we can do so much more than we could on our own. And I know that's why I needed to make the video today, because my cousin had a dream about me, with me in it. And the dream is really long, but the one part that I wanted to share was she found me, and it would take too long to explain the circumstance, but the point was she saw that I was like completely disabled. Like my right arm was not working at all. And I was like, oh, it's fine. Like, it's totally fine. My husband is helping me. You don't need to do anything. Like, this is just, it's going to be fine. And I was like totally like lame. And my husband came and he just like picked me up and he put me in this wheelchair and he like scooted me off to the next place. And my cousin was just like, Allison, like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, it's fine. But sometimes, like when I let myself be real about certain things that are and are not happening in my life, like it's really not fine. And I'm a naturally optimistic person. I am one of those like make do or do without kind of people. Like I'm just like, yeah, this is great. Life is awesome. I love being here. I love being alive. I love my body. I love my life. I love this earth. But there are some times when I literally feel like half of me is gone. And I'm getting carted around in a wheelchair. And maybe that's just the way that it's going to be. And maybe it's good learning, you know? And it will be fine. It is fine. But it's still there. And again, at the doctor's office I got to go to this class. She teaches a class once a month. That's like a night. She calls it like the Seekers Club or something. And so I got to go this week. And we did this meditation. And my mortal task plate is like filled to overflowing. And there's been times in my life where I have spent hours in meditation daily, like receiving I'm not in that place right now because my mortal and physical is so loud and in my face present. But during this class, I got to do this meditation. And once I dropped down into that space, it was immediate and so real and poignant where I was and who came to me. And when the man started counting down that the time was up, I when I came to myself, I just had tears streaming down my face, like, please no. And it's like, I love living by the seashore. That's the other thing I've been pondering on and just receiving the lesson of Mahanrai Moriankumur, who lived by the seashore and for years didn't receive the Lord, that he was with his family on the seashore and his mortal plate was full, and he didn't seek the Lord in the way that he did before he went on this journey. And so I've just been sitting with that, like, okay, there's a time and a season. It's just like the song, to everything turn, 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 turn. So I'm turning. It's my turn on earth. So the video hasn't cut off. So I guess I got to say everything that I wanted to say and needed to say. Trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to cover. I can't imagine my life without the events that have happened in the past while. I mean, we come down here to learn, to gain experience. And I'm doing that. I'm also feeling some deep, deep shifts within myself of understandings of people. You know, if you ever want to know what my heart songs are, I have a list of liked videos in my channel. And there's this one. It's called If It's Not God, or If It Wasn't God, or something like that. That song just resonates with me so deeply on so many levels. Like, I hear myself in it. I hear one of my kids in it. Thank God it was me that I heard all those times. And I choose it. I choose everything that I've experienced. I wouldn't go back. I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't change a thing. So, maybe this video sounds really rambly, but maybe you have ears to hear. I hope you're having a great Christmas time. It's so wonderful. Even if it is like so wrapped up in so many different traditions. I really do wonder if there's going to be a tipping point, or if it's just going to keep going on like this and I'll grow old. I never imagined growing old. Maybe I will. Shalom.